Do you have clairintellect, or are you using your claircognizance? Do you even know the freaking difference? I'm gonna give you 3 ways to tell if you are using clairintellect, and I want you to compare it against your claircognizance to see which one you are using daily. My name is Z, and I'm a manifestation and clair development coach, and I also help people empower themselves within their spirituality and reclaim their heritage and generational wealth. So let's get into number 1. One of the most common things that I see amongst people who actually have clairintellect, again, not claircognizance, is that they are easily able to solve issues and questions with otherworldly information, meaning they can pull information from the cosmos, from spirit, from their ancestors, from plant allies, from nature. They have a collective way of reading all this energy around them to be able to decipher it into making a decision that a lot of people are not able to do. Kind of translate into is having a crystal clear knowing. Crystal clear, not like semi-clear, not like, oh, I got this information. Is it really the information? It's crystal clear, been confirmed over and over and over again. And literally it's been shown to you. You felt it. You can see it in nature. All of the answers are being reflected back to you. And the one thing I will say is a lot of people can confuse it with claircognizance, because they can pick up on information randomly if they're in a space with someone, or maybe you heard a thought, like you receive a thought form, or maybe you receive something from an animal. That's very different than clairintellect. Clairintellect is an even more sharp knowing of information based on all of the energy around you, where claircognizance we're like drop into your energy really quickly, and it's like all of a sudden you know this, or you shouldn't go that way. But clairintellect will be like, you shouldn't go that way, this is X, Y, and Z, this is the path ahead, this is blah 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 blah, this is how you get back. Like it's more than just, oh, I have this thought. It doesn't go anywhere past that. Literally you'll be able to read things that you won't be able to see, but can decipher the information. So hopefully that is making sense. And this usually shows up with people who are extremely deep thinkers, and they're really great at reasoning, but also using their intuition at the same time. There is no clairintellect without your intuition. So if you are someone who just likes to overthink or overly reason, doesn't mean it's your clairintellect. It just means you have a busy mind and you like to predict things based on facts that you receive. Because people who use clairintellect are extremely unbiased, and that is the only way that they're able to decipher information and be able to make a decision. Because if you find that when you are receiving information through your clairs, you're questioning it, haven't learned how to be unbiased when reading energy. Your ego is still leading in the front, so you can't take on as much information and just allow it to come in. So that's going to be a huge difference with someone who does actually practice clairintellect. I see more common amongst people who are seers, because seers have a high capacity to take on energy, see many timelines, many atmospheres, many lifetimes, many things around the globe. They can feel into the earth. We feel a high capacity of energy, where a lot of people can only function with 1 or 2 clairs throughout the day, or in one very specific moment. They're like, oh, I'm hearing things. Seers, it's everything. You hear, see, feel, sense, read all at one time, and you can feel the earth all at one time. That's why you can make such strong predictions. And something you'll realize with the people who can naturally solve, issues or questions, is that they are likely always prepared. They're always prepared because they can see many situations happen at the exact same time. So they have a very clear knowing and a very clear understanding, and they have very clear beliefs, most likely on how energy works, but also with an openness, because they understand you have to be unbiased, you have to be open when receiving energy and pull from anything all at once. So that is going to be number 1. So I want you to reflect on if you actually have number 1, or if you've been using your claircognizance and maybe thinking it was clairintellect, these clair words, or is it something else? You never know. Let's get into number 2. You can easily master new skills. This is one of my favorites because Clairintellect is basically you being a hub for information. And so anything that comes across your path, even if it is brand new, whether it's like a physical skill or a skill for your business or a creative skill, you can usually master it because you can master energy. You can pull literal intelligence into your body to be able to solve the issue or the question in front of you, and you always have an answer for something. The coolest thing with people who have Clairintellect is because they show up, even I feel like in human design, as folks who are projectors, because projectors see the bigger vision. Projectors are sometimes seers, right? Like myself, projectors know how to get from point A to point Z and help everybody with everything in between because they have a clear intellect. They understand how things are working. They understand how things are moving. They're usually unafraid in those cases, and even if their ego has some fear, they will easily be able to move through, or they will easily be able to move forward. You become like, you are beyond book smart and common sense smart because you're cosmically smart, which is a fun, jokey thing to put it, but that's basically what's happening. You're able to pull higher intelligence type of information into your physical body and then be able to make decisions into your 3D. You're like a giant computer, a giant cosmic computer. I see this most commonly also with people who are multifaceted, multi-talented, who can handle many moving parts at one time. Again, something that a projector can do in human design. You should look up what your sign is. Doesn't mean that only projectors do that. It just means that they usually intellects because they need to be able to guide people toward the path. They need to be able to make decisions. They need to be able to have predictions that are accurate and things like that, and be able to read information on a very minute level. And another funny thing that kind of rolls up into this point is, aside from being multi-talented, they also are easily bored. People who have Clairintellect, because they are really intelligent, not just in the 3D realm, but in the 5D realm, they're unamused. They're very unamused by people who cannot hold conversations of the same caliber. And this doesn't mean that you are like throwing fancy words out there, you read a bunch of books, all those things. No, it means your energy is so massive that you have a unique perspective on the world. And so when you come across people whose energy is really, really small, or whose aura is like not as like massive or flowy or protective or open to other energy, you're gonna pick up on that, and you're gonna innately feel like, one, you don't want to talk to them, and two, you're probably going to shut down, and three, even if you lean in, because like Clairintellects will communicate on a very different level, because they don't necessarily have to have the same kind of conversations. A lot of people with clairs know this anyways. Like, you can communicate through your energy, and when you're a Clairintellect, not only are you like using your clear knowing to understand this person with accuracy, you're reading their body language. Like, it's like a fusion of how your brain works with energy alongside it. And if they can't do the same thing, then you're bored. You are so bored, because the other person is likely focusing on like, oh, this person just walked by, or like blah, 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 blah. And your brain is over there exploding over how you just saw confirmation over this, or yada, 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 or you love how synchronistic this is. And then you can dive into these deeper concepts of how like energy works, or how enlightenment, blah, blah, blah. And you tend to gravitate towards more complex spiritual practices within other cultures, even that are aligned with your energy, because it goes along with a sense of enlightenment. Like, it's very, very similar to that sort of feeling. So now on to number 3, which was a perfect segue. Number 3 is they become easily enlightened, meaning that you don't have trouble understanding concepts that deal with spiritual enlightenment, or living in a state of bliss, or understanding how energy works or energy feels, like that sort of stuff. There's a difference, and I want to say this, there is a difference between spiritual enlightenment and someone who's just a bookworm. Like, a lot of people think that spiritual enlightenment means that you've read all the things from so and so, you fully like you took the class, you went on the retreat, you like did all the things, but you don't actually know what you're doing. You're not actually spiritually enlightened, and if you tried to teach the concept to someone else, they would not become spiritually enlightened because you are not spiritually enlightened. Does that make sense? I'm hoping that's making sense, because a lot of the times when people are spiritually enlightened, because they understand spirituality and they understand enlightenment and they understand energy, they can take the information, because they also have clairintellect, they can share it with someone and give it to them in a way that they can have their own breakthroughs, right? This is where you see like really strong spiritual teachers, really strong channels, really strong like even coaches in some sense, because they have that clairintellect to be able to teach information because they understand it through and through. That's very different than someone who just memorizes things and regurgitates information. That's not really helpful when you are enlightened. You're not really enlightened, because it likely means that if it's only living in your brain and it's not living in your energy, you're probably heavily like living in your ego more than you know. And again, the biggest rule is like, when you are spiritually enlightened, you can enlighten other people. Like, you can literally enlighten other people because you understand, you can feel it, you can sense it, you can breathe it, you can tell when it's real, you can tell when it's not there. But I just want to make sure you fully understand, because as you are going on your spiritual journey, you're going to run into people who you might perceive as enlightened, but lean into your clairs and your emotions to be able to read their energy. Because when someone is highly enlightened, highly elevated, highly grounded, you're gonna feel it. It's gonna cause you to feel other emotions within yourself, right? That's when you are around a really good spiritual teacher. Maybe they speak, maybe they sing, maybe you listen to their meditations. They shift your energy within your heart space, within your third eye, within all these different places, and you can feel it. It wouldn't even matter what they said. You would just be able to feel it, you know? So pay attention to that. You are easily excitable by this type of information, because what your energy and your clairintellect is doing is taking information and then like piecing it together and exploding it outwards, because you just pieced together another part of your energy and understanding about the cosmos. So now you can go take that information and just like through everything else, right? And it happens at a rapid, like super rapid pace. Like, that's like when you see people go through like spiritual awakenings and things like that, it's in those moments where you just get blasted with information. You're like, oh, what? You just go off like into a whole nother cosmic universe, and you need to like go sit down and meditate for a while, or drink some water, or like jump into the ocean, or, you know, bury yourself in some sand, cover yourself in mud, like whatever it is to ground yourself back into your body. You're going to be easily excitable because you already are filled with so much knowledge. So then when you get another piece of the puzzle, it's like, oh yeah, Rubik's Cube. You don't really need, it falls into enlightenment, you don't really need to memorize information often, because you're able to pull on it from different places. So some people who have to memorize information, they're not necessarily clairintellect, they can be, but really strong clairintellects, they know information and it'll come to them. It's kind of freaky how it happens, but it's a really, really, really cool gift. And again, like, what I want to say for this last point is like, it's not about you being obsessive. Again, this is like going back to people who are book smart versus people who are not as book smart. and being spiritually enlightened versus being obsessed, right? Like there is the obsession with a concept that makes you spiral, and then there's the clear intellect with the understanding and the groundedness that happens. Because when you develop your clairs, you have to be grounded. You have to have an understanding of energy. Like there is no way that your ego is going to be running in the forefront if your clear intellect is strong. Like they don't go together. They don't go together. So either you're being obsessive or you're in your clear intellect would be like the two ends of the spectrum. And you know, obviously there's like spirals and tangents and like that sort of stuff. Like that's the excitable things, but like thinking that it's clear intellect when really you're obsessive, like that's not the same thing. I don't know how else to explain it. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Let me know in the comments. Invite you all to come join the School for the Gifted, where we go over these concepts. I also help you with any messages that come through from my end, from the ancestors, from your guides. I read you. I am like, if there's things you don't want me to know, tough cookies, I want to know about them when you come into the class. I'm just kidding, but really. And let me know below in the comments if this was helpful for you, what you learned. Are you like claircognizant, or are you clear intellect, or are you a little bit of both? Are you still unsure? Do you want to come learn about it? Whatever it is, just come say hi. I'm sending you lots of love, lots of hugs. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone you think might find it helpful on their spiritual awakening journey, and I will talk to you later.